Alright, everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So I'll have a channel update out today talking about what happened this weekend, or this week. But TLDR, between family stuff and the stress from family stuff, your boy got very, very sick, so my throat was completely shot all this week. Just recovered basically yesterday. So yeah, all my plans went out the window, unfortunately. With that said, for the new year, I am planning to get back to the regular read-through rotation schedule again. So depending on how I feel, I might try to do a video tomorrow. I'd rather let my throat rest so I don't over-stress it this week and then get sick again. So we'll probably get back to the regular rotation next weekend. So we'll do again, starting from Battle Angel Alita and then Black Hammer, Bride Story. I'll rotate through those three series until we're done. I'm also going to put Yona of the Dawn back into the mix until I get caught up with the next two volumes. So a lot of good content's going to be coming your way in the coming year. So if you haven't already, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have already, I do want to thank everyone for their support through 2023. I hope you'll also be supporting me on this channel through 2024 as well. We'll hopefully cover some more new and interesting series as well. But without further ado, let's dive into the Shonen Jump chapter stuff today, which we're going to get through and cover. So we already finished getting through Akane Banashi, Kaiju. I think that was it. I don't think there's anything else I need to cover today. So we're going to get to Spy Family in just a second here. As always, if you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I haven't forgotten about that addendum video for the last chapter. I will try to get that out by next weekend as well, so look forward to that. Without further ado, let us dive into it with Spy Family Mission 92 by Tetsuya Endo, with translation by Casey Lowe and lettering by Irina Mappa. So you see everyone starting at this billboard with term finals next Thursday and Friday. And you have Damien going, "So it's here. It's finally happening." And Anya's like, "I need to study hard so I don't get a nitrous bolt." And Becky's like, "We'd better take these tests seriously, Anya. The results will determine what classes we're assigned to for the second term." And Damien's like, "Ha! Considering the clear aptitude gap between us in, every subject, I guess that means I'll never have to see your face again." It's like, "So true, boss man." And Anya's like, "That's right. If I don't get good grades on my finals, I'll end up alone and Plan B will be doomed. I need to ace them somehow. The thing is, the reading minds to cheat plan hasn't really worked out. I know from the quizzes. There's so many people thinking in that room that it's hard for me to read the ones who actually know the answers." He was like, 5 times 3 is 10? It's 10. No, 5. It's like, this hard, just like looking at like the target. It's like, "Stop thinking, I can't hear." It's like, "You add first and then multiply?" It's like, "If I can pull this off, then everyone, 1, 2, 3. It's like, I don't get this at all. And even when I can focus on the right person, they solve the problem so fast asleep. So fast asleep that I can't keep up. I need to figure out the answers for myself as much as I can. Luckily, I'm a genial, so I know." She's trying to say she's a genius. "Luckily, I'm a genial, so I know I can do this." You see Lloyd sitting in the chair, just like looking all contemplative, just like with this like stoic look on his face, or this like a determined look on his face. Not determined look. God, what the hell am I thinking of the look being? Why are you like this? Hold on, sorry. Just skip to the end for some reason. With the serious look on his face, being like, "The day is almost upon us. The first term final exams. How can I feel any hope at all as I gaze upon this mountain of corpses which have a doom?" As he's looking at Anya's recent quizzes with 28, 14, 22, 7. It's like, "I can't even use my last resort tactic of changing her test answers anymore. Eden Academy significantly strengthened its security procedures after discovering evidence of infiltration left by that strange man who tried to change the midterms. Damn it, who was that man? Was he actually a master spy whose true goal was undermining Operation Strix? It's like, no, he wasn't. Must I completely abandon that prospect? It's true that nothing is beyond my capabilities, but the risk would be great. It would be wise to refrain from taking such risks until I have no other choice. Remember, we only have 2 nitrous bolts. There's still time. Calm yourself, Twilight, calm yourself. He's like, she's looking at the test result with a 7 on it. It's like, maybe short-term memorization would suffice? I'd rather she understood the material, but we'll do what we must to avoid a bolt. It's like, but there is one ray of hope. It's like, for whatever reason, classical language seems to be Anya's singular academic strength. And you see that on the classical language she got a 62. It's like, if we focus our efforts on honing that, she could possibly earn a Stella Star. And you see Anya just like shivering and shaking. Oh, God. It's like, good morning, Papa. It sure is weirdly chilly today. She's like sniffling. He's like, please tell me you haven't caught a cold right before finals. And she's like, achoo! And you see this giant snot trail dripping out of her nose. Like, look, Papa, look, I just blew the longest string of snot in the history of the Uniscliverse. And she's like poking her finger, like messing with it. Maybe I can even earn a Stella Star for being the Eden Academy Master of Snot. It's like, stretch, stretch. It's a snot anaconda. It's a Snotaconda. It's like, Mama, wake up, come see my Snotaconda. No, it's a booger constrictor. God. And Lloyd has the look on his face of like any Asian parent when their kid tells them they didn't get an A+, being like, let this be a lesson, Twilight. Do not dare to dream. That child is not earning any Stella Stars. Stay in the realm of reality. You see later as he's trying to treat her. He's like, don't you remember? I said these problems are different, so they need a different formula. And she smolders, like steam and like flames are just popping out of Anya's head. It's like, once again, my technical skills are falling short. I'm sorry. Julie Dorcas bonds off in the distance, just sleeping. You see his tail just like flap, 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 flap. It's like, once again, my teaching skills are falling short. What should I do? Ask Yuri Breyer to tutor her again? It's like, I've already arrived at suspicions. It's probably best that I avoid any needless interactions with him. Plus, he's so loud. Sure, ding dong. Christ. Alright, I gotta admit, I'm not like super keen on these old people becoming like a regular part of this ensemble cast. I feel like this is the first time, apart from like Yuri, because his shtick is just annoying. I just feel like I have felt nothing towards these two old people. We'll see. Maybe they'll grow on me in this chapter. But the grandma's like, I baked some cookies. Would you like to try? Come try some? And Grandpa's like, and as neighbors, we'd love to get to know you better. And Lloyd's like, oh, that's so kind of you to offer, but... And, sorry. Yours like, good day to you. And Anya's like, cookies! And he's like, no, you're not getting out of studying. And Anya's like, argh. It's like, oh, did we interrupt in a study session? It's like, we all need a break sometimes. And Lloyd's like, it's the Outhans who recently moved in next door. I've yet to detect anything of concern in their backgrounds or behavior, but there may be value in probing them further. So then we'd be honored to accept. Thank you. And Anya's like, it's always about work with Papa. He's like, so, Mr. and Mrs. Forger, did you grow up here in Berlin? And Yours like, no, I'm from the South. And Lloyd's like, I only came here for work myself. It's like, have you two been married long? It's like, no, only for about a year. It's like, oh my, you're still newlyweds, tee-hee-hee. So what do you like best about your new husband, dear? And George is like blushing. He's like, he upholds his end of our, upholds his duties as a husband and father, I mean. And Lloyd's like, I'd better change the topic to something safer. He's like, I like everything about my... Bars? What the hell is that guy saying? Hold on, sorry, let me just zoom in. Oh, Barb. Yeah, I like everything about my Barb. Sorry, set this. It's like, you two have quite a library here. Some of these volumes look rare. It's like, oh, Siggy used to be a university professor. Feel free to look through them if you like. It's like, that's right, you mentioned you lived in Berlin for a long time. It's like, well, after the war, we relocated to the Kovenia area for a spell. But when it was time to retire, we moved back to be close to our son and his family. God, why do I feel like their son and his family is gonna be fucking... Why do I feel like this is gonna be Desmond's grandparents? Like, why do I feel like that's what the reveal is gonna be? And he's like, good to know. It's like, what did you teach at the university? He's like, oh my, what was it again? Neurology and a few other subjects on top of that, right? It's like, yes. Oh, fuck, I've got some theories already bubbling. We'll talk about it at the end. In Kovenia, I helped rehabilitate wounded soldiers for a bit as well. And you're a psychiatrist, yes? Not so far off from my own field. It's like, nom nom nom. He was just like munching down the cookies. He's like, haha, how about that? It's like, Sigmund Authen. Is this guy's name supposed to be a reference to Freud? My research into his background indicated he was highly regarded as a scholar. He seems well known enough that it's unlikely his background is a cover identity, and even more unlikely that he moved here specifically to target me. That said, one can never be too careful. It's like, as a doctor, you must have had a tough time during the war. It's like, yes, I think so. During the war, what did I do again, Barb? Was I taking a bath? It's like, no, dear, you did not spend the war in the bath. It's like, I see you have a lot of books about language as well. It's like, yes, well, why do I have those? Oh, right, I did dabble in cultural anthropology a bit. In fact, I once toured the world studying local folk remedies as a fieldwork project. I did do that, right? And he's like, I didn't know what you were doing, dear, just that you barely came home at all. It's like, in so many books about classical language. And Anya's like, I'm trying to get the top classical language test score in my class. It's like, oh my, perhaps I could help you study. I was quite the lecturer back in the day. And Anya's like, if I study here, do I get all the cookies I can eat? His eyes just like sparkling. Like, I'm not promising that. And Lloyd's like, what a happy coincidence. Well, I don't see any harm in it. He's like, oh, well, if it wouldn't be too much trouble for you. It's like, now, dear. It's like, I'm Anya. Anya, do you have any favorite books? It's like, books? I like the Spy Wars comic books. He's like, oh, I believe I purchased the first volume of that in order to discuss it with my students once. Where did that go? I was like, look, it's a first edition. It's like, wow, you're kind of cool. So rare. It's like, let's use this as our textbook. And you see, what the hell is Lloyd flipping through? Oh, so it's, you have Lloyd flipping through a book with the same tactic I attempted when I made that Spy Wars cartoon. You're wasting your time, Mr. Auden. Yeah, flip as he's going through the speed reading through a book with done. It's like, book is carefree therapy. It's like, that cartoon sucked, Papa. So don't you think this is a good line here, Anya? It's like, you have excellent taste, Grandpa Siggy. Do you think we could say something this cool in classical language? It's like, that'd be great. It's like, oh yes, let's. I'll say it and you recite after me. It's like, turn and face me, honey. You can't hide your love for me. I expose people's secrets for a living. And Anya's like, come and get me, honey. You can't hide that tub from me. I peek at people when they're bathing. It's like, one mustn't peep when someone's in the bath. It's like, oh, I messed up. It's like, no, it's fine. Whenever you find a pitfall, it makes the road easier to walk the next time. With classical language, we must change our vocabulary to fit the situation. It's like how Bondman changes his disguise to fit wherever he's attempting to infiltrate. Danya's like, huh? And Lloyd's like, this is a test for first graders, so I can't imagine the grammar will be anywhere near that complicated. He's like, no, that's entirely beside the point. The very essence of learning is acquiring techniques for how to break through when one hits a wall. Those eureka moments are the greatest joys in learning. It's like, Eureka leptis, the stuff koala bears eat? He's like, oh, look how much you know about koalas. I bet you'll ace your biology test. So did you know eucalyptus leaves are poisonous? That's why koalas sleep so much. Of course, koalas don't live here, but in lands far to the south. It's like, you know everything, Grandpa Siggy, almost as much as Papa does. It's like, oh, the world is full of things that are a mystery to me. That's what makes it so much fun. I was like, learning things is one of the fundamental joys of being human. Grasping the world's wonders, discovering how to make and build things, understanding the past, the future, oneself, others. I simply wish to learn all I can. And Barb's like, let's get back to test prep, Siggy. It's like, yes, I may have gotten carried away. Tests are important too. Becoming an imperial scholar would change your life. There are some things that only the chosen get to learn and behold. In other words, like, Siggy! It's like, yes, the test. And he's like, I haven't seen Siggy look so happy in a long time. It's like, let's use classical language to rename each of these spy gadgets. It's like, okie dokie. And Lloyd's like, encouraging her to find joy in studying. I hadn't even considered that. I can understand its value as a motivational tool, but to me its practice and understanding that go hand in hand. I've always regarded knowledge and understanding as tactical weapons. They are tools of survival and nothing more. So can you see how you can stick these words together like so? So the words are doing the hunky-funky? It's like, indeed, they connect to each other just as Bondman does to his many lady friends. It's like, this one, and this one, and this one. It's like, that's right. Those three words get along together very well. You've cracked the pattern, Anya. Well done. Bondman himself couldn't have done better. It's like, Eureka, you did it! It's like, Eucalypta! And you see her just like patting her head, and she's looking all proud. And you see as the clock strikes 5. It's like, please do feel free to drop by whenever you'd like. I'd be happy to teach her more. I do have the time. He's like, oh, we hate to be a bother. It's like, what bother? You'd be doing us a favor spending time with us old folks. It's like, I need to get Estella, so I'll come every day. It's like, if there are cookies. And Lloyd's like, hey. It's like, that's the spirit. Excellent. After you ace your final exams and become an Imperial Scholar, what will you do next? What is your ultimate goal? And she's like, well, she looks back like Lloyd. She's like, I want world peace. It's like, oh ho, a grand goal indeed. Then I shall teach you as if the fate of the world depends on it. It's like, she just watches too many cartoons. He's like, you're a good girl, a fine child. And he just like grabs her and gives her a hug. He's like, children like you are this nation's greatest treasures. Grow up healthy and strong. And I was like, you're kind of prickly. He's like, ho ho, now what cookie should I prepare for tomorrow's lesson? And you see how she's sleeping away happily that night. Yours like, it's good that our neighbors are such lovely people. It's like, yes, it sure is. He's like, at least for the time being. It's like, See you the next day with the school bell ringing with Becky going, good morning, Anya. Are you making good progress with your test prep? It's like, yeah, you bet I am, Becky. I've got myself koala power now. It's like, what? You lost your chihuahua power, but now you have koala power? Is that better? It's like, I've even started to enjoy studying a tiny little bit. It's like, no way! Did you eat something moldy, Anya? Should I call the nurse? It's like, but hey, what one likes, one will do well, right? I expect great things, Anya. It's like, what one will, what? Damien's like, no way's that moron gonna beat me. And you see a little montage, it's like, Anya just like furiously like, typing away, like meditating, doing all kinds of exercise. Oh god, she got like this ripped shirt with like this little like with this little like 5 o'clock shadows, got like this little bandana wrapped around her face, like these little training bandages on. It's like, Papa, I've mastered the art of classical language. I'm gonna nail that test tomorrow. He's like, okay, but why do you look like that? She's like, I wanted to look like an overcomer correct training. And Lloyd's like, she actually has been doing fairly well in the recent practice test, and she got a 78 on the recent one. He's like, is it possible? Is it actually possible? As a can a man dream? And Barb's like, when you get the top score on your test, we'll celebrate. It's like, just you wait, lady. I'm bringing back Stella by the boatload. It's like, world peace is in your hands. Jeff, let's do it. It's like, Miss Forger, please explain your facial hair. Some manner of joke? And I'm just like, I drew it with a permanent marker and it wouldn't wash off. And Davy's like, no way is that moron going to beat me. No way. Jeff, so be it. Very well, students. At this moment, you will begin the first of your final exam. As you glint, as you just like posed over her paper. And 5 days later, the results. Man. Alright, so I guess quick thoughts on the chapter. So I guess we'll talk about the ending first. So this is either setting her up to be like either like second or something in the test. So I don't feel like it's going to be first. So she's either going to have horrifically failed or not done as well as she thinks. Or she'll come in like close to first or second place. Or she'll come in first place. She'll be like super surprised by it. We'll see what happens. Apart from that... I love how just like Lloyd's just given up on life. He's like, that girl's not gonna win, Estella. Lloyd's like, you better come up with some other plans. It's just like Operation Strix is like, at this point, Anya's just like got him in the door and he's like, alright, that's it, you're done. You're benched. I'll go do my own stuff now. I can't rely on you. But again, like, I'm still of the mind that given how much focus the classical language bit has been having, I feel like there's got to be something plot relevant to this. Like, I feel like there's some reason we keep bringing up the fact that, she's had this singular academic strength in classical language. She's been doing really well on, because we know absolutely nothing about Anya's past. We don't know where she came from, like how she got into the testing program that she's put into, everything like that. So I feel like the classical language has to be tied either into her past or something to do with regards to that program. So I'm going to be riding that train. So I feel like it's going to become plot relevant and important at some point. So we'll see how right I am with that or not. But it feels just kind of like an odd irony that Anya also got sick during this chapter when I also got sick. So that was just kind of really amusing. I love like the noir almost way Lloyd's face is drawn when he's like, "Don't dream about it. Like, stay in the realm of reality. She's never going to earn any 12 Stella stars." His facial expressions in this manga is always like 10 out of 10. Greatest moments. Apart from that, like I said, the two new like old people, I'm like, alright, they're gonna be like the pseudo grandparents for the family. It's like, alright, at this point they're still kind of whatever. Like, I don't hate them, but I don't really like, I'm kind of like ambivalent on them. I'm like, alright, sure, if they're there, but I don't know, I just don't really care for them in the story. Like, they haven't really bought anything so far to the story that makes kind of like has made them appeal to me in any way, especially with like what is it, Siggy's whole thing being like, oh, he's apparently going like senile. Like, it's one of those gigs where I'm like, alright, this wears itself out very, very quickly. So unless they're gonna do something serious with it, like if they're gonna talk about like stuff like dementia or something, which I don't really think Endo-san is gonna touch on really. So unless it's that, like, it's just like, alright, it's another tired gig. It really doesn't have like a lot of appeal or like thing to it, so it's alright, kind of whatever. Apart from that, I still do highly suspect, if not Desmond's parents, because I don't think they're alive, I think they might be Melinda's parents, is what the reveal is being set up for. With them being like, oh, we moved back to be like closer to our grandchildren, whatever. Especially because given that like Damien doesn't stay at home either, and that he stays in his own like in the, I was gonna say barracks, but I'm like, that's not right, in the school barracks. That's the only word I'm coming to mind. I'm sorry, I cannot think of the word right now. But given like how Melinda seems to like keep people that are close to her like at a distance, it would make sense that her parents would also have to find like their own place to stay at, rather than like kind of staying with her in her like palatial mansion, whatever. So I feel like that's what the setup for the reveal is being set up to. I also feel like this whole being like, oh, I did like work on like neurology and stuff. I feel like that might also be plot relevant to like the whole psychic Anya stuff, but we'll see. Right now, these characters really have kind of like more weight and importance as what they can do to drive the plot forward, I think, rather than being like interesting characters in their own right. Apart from that, I feel like Endo-san was kind of trying to say something about like, the joy in education shouldn't be about like rote memorization and learning. Like, you should be teaching children. You shouldn't be teaching children just like rote memorization, like studying for exams and things. You should be teaching like enjoy learning for the sake of learning. You need to like teach them like properly, things like that. Because I feel like it doesn't really go far enough into like an actual critique of the educational system. Again, I don't know if Endo-san is like actually striving to do that, like striving to actually critique the failures, the downsides of the educational system. But I also feel like, Lloyd's comment about like, oh, he's trying to encourage her to find like the joy in studying. I also feel like it doesn't go far enough to try to really get that point across. Because at no point do I feel like Siggy actually enjoys learning or books or stuff like that. So again, it feels like, it didn't go far enough in either direction for this chapter. So a lot of this stuff in the middle was kind of just middling in that regard. So it's kind of like, whatever, all right, sure. I guess we'll see where this stuff goes. But yeah, I did I did love Anya's terrible animal puns where she's like, "Oh, I have koala power and it's a Snotaconda," things like that. That was really amusing. As well as her deliberately having dressed up with like little beard marks and everything. Like, I want her to go through a training montage. I love her so much. But yeah, solid chapter apart from that. Even with the few like ups and down moments. I'm very curious to see what the results are gonna be like. Because again, like I could see it going either way. I could see her, surprising everyone having gotten one in the first place in the classics. Or like I said, I could see her not having gotten first place but having scored really high. I could also see her doing. I don't think it's gonna go to a fail. I feel like that's going too far. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this is gonna lead into. But yeah. With all that said, hope you all enjoyed this video. I did rant about it a little bit too long. Like I mentioned, I will try to get around to doing that addendum video for Spy Family because I think I wrote up a couple of notes and things. I just haven't had the energy and strength to kind of like refine it and record the video for it, but I'll hopefully get that done by next week. Like I mentioned, all the other Shonen Jump stuff will be out today as well, with hopefully a small channel update talking about plans to the channel, things like that. With all that said, I hope 2023 has treated you all well. If it hasn't, if it has been rough on you as it has been for me, I hope 2024 is kinder to all of you. As always, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, I really do appreciate everyone's love and support for this channel and for this content this past year. And hopefully you will continue to support me going into the new year as well, as we get more Spy Family stuff. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Looking forward to seeing you all back in the new year. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.